Well, hello everybody, my name's Pilley, I'm from CXG, and I've been asked to speak today about my year as my first year as a NALS agent. I thought I'd start off by just sort of giving you an update of the journey that I've actually been on for the last 7 years and has led me to be here before you today. It all actually started just with a car and a mobile phone. The car wasn't a Ferrari and the phone wasn't a BlackBerry. But 7 years ago, my brother and I were actually running a retail business. We had several shops which were computer-based, and we built the turnover up to about £1 million. And then the internet came in, and all of a sudden we found ourselves competing against the whole world, not just our local high street. And our turnover started to decline quite quickly. In fact, over about a 3-year period, it looked like it was going to be halving. So the future that we had, and the asset that we felt we had that would secure our financial future, seemed to be disappearing before our eyes. So with the car and the mobile phone, and Elaine, who's back there as well, my job was to go out there and source some properties basically for our pension pot. I hadn't been contaminated, or wasn't aware, maybe I should say, about the feeling at that time was that you only needed £1 and a credit card and you could buy as many properties as you liked. There's lots of no money down deals, and you could end up as a property millionaire very, very quickly. I wasn't aware of that, so I was putting in deposits and was creating a product really that was quite high cash flowing, because we were in an area where property prices were relatively low and rents were relatively high, and the fact I was putting deposits in meant that we were creating equity and creating good cash flow, which meant that when the financial crisis came, we didn't become a motivated seller. So there's quite a few advantages to what we were doing. And I didn't quite appreciate that maybe at the time. The disadvantage was, of course, that I was running out of money because I was funding the deposits. I was explaining this to my mortgage broker at the time, who then explained to me what a yield meant, and he explained that I was actually achieving between 10 and 15% return on investment, and he felt he'd have a number of investors who'd be interested if I could demonstrate and prove that I could offer that to his clients. Now, my brother and myself, we'd bought all around the country, not just in our local area, and we'd also bought abroad. And the one thing that had let our investment down and made us wary of property, and it seemed to be a theme going round, was a lot to do with the ethics and integrity of people who were managing the properties. Maybe the rent wasn't being collected, or it wasn't on time, or a sourcer would find a property and then find out that if you couldn't let it out easily, you could never go back to the person who'd sourced the property, because they would say, well, that's down to the local letting agent. So I thought, if we were going to make a business of this, my vision at that time was to try to create a business that really got associated with ethics and integrity and would manage the property on behalf of our clients. So my thing was, we were going to try and climb the mountain to achieve those things, because starting off how we did, it really did seem a mountain at the time. So that was my Mount Everest. So we're not at the top of the mountain yet, but we've managed to manage over 175 properties. We've sourced over 130 properties for our clients. We've opened up an estate agency, and we also do refurbs, etc. So we've now got a maintenance company, which has enabled us actually to buy a former pub, which we're now converting, and our head office will be opening there hopefully very early in the new year. So also, we've won various awards. We've won, I think, 6 in the last 3 years. Elaine's won 2 individual awards, Property Women of the Year. And that's there just to show. So really, becoming a NALS agent was a sort of an endorsement of what our company had achieved, and a reminder of how far we'd come. So we felt it was a stamp of approval. So it was quite a proud moment when we got the accreditation, because it's actually showing and demonstrating. Whereas when we started, I basically was telling our clients, look, trust me, I will collect your rent, I will manage to make the tenants pay on time, etc. You can only get so far with that. Passion will take you quite a long way, but when you've got someone else endorsing you and actually stamping you, it's actually a very, very powerful message, and that's what I've found in the last year. So it's actually something that really did have an immediate impact, positive impact on our company. And what I also felt is that the time is that where we were fighting against the tide, where there was lots of publicity, which there still is now, about rogue landlords, people doing things the wrong way. And the industry seemed to be contracting, almost going small and hiding away. Whereas I kind of felt, well, if you do things right, why don't you go and say, we're proud of what we do. We're proud of what we do for landlords. We're proud of what we do for tenants. And we really want to do things the correct way. And if you do that, as the former Housing Minister, Mark Priss there, we've met the Chancellor, the Home Secretary, and it really means that you can go out there and really be proud of what you're doing personally in the industry that you're actually involved in. So it showed to me now, it makes what you're actually saying to people is that you're an open and transparent company. You don't mind somebody else coming in, having a look at what you're doing, and without the accreditation, you wouldn't get the accreditation if you weren't actually very open and transparent. And again, whether that's to tenants or landlords or clients, everybody, you're actually giving a very powerful message. Now, that you might think, what's David Gold got to do with NALS? But he's actually the chairman of West Ham and the chairman of Ann Summers. So being able to be open and go out there and shout about what you do means that when Elaine won her award, it was actually should have been presented by Karen Brady. Unfortunately, she was tied up. So what we did, we got invited to West Ham. David Gold presented it. I ended up writing a book for him, and that was sold in the West Ham shop, 2,500 copies. So the point of that story is to say you never ever know where things will lead. If you go out there and you talk and you mix, and you actually get invited to different events, and you, like today, you never ever know where your journey is going to take you. So I never imagined that in the last year I'd end up writing a book for the football team I'd supported all my life, etc., and got to know the chairman. But it is, that's really what they call the law of attraction. Good things attract other good things. So it's given confidence really to all of our companies, all the investment side, the estate agency and the maintenance, and most importantly as well, and I think people kind of forget that, it's given confidence to our tenants, not just the landlords, because when the tenants come in and they see the different accreditations that we've got, they're being associated with a company that is doing things the right way. And the landlords want tenants who want to be seen to be associated with doing things correctly. So it actually breeds confidence, not just to ourselves, but also to the people that we're doing business with, and of course our employees. And I think that's another thing that's sometimes forgotten. Your company is only as good as the people that you employ. So every time you take on a new employee, as we do, the accreditations that we're part of is actually saying to those employees, look, if you work for us, there's a certain standard and a process that we're going to expect from you. If you want to do things not the correct way, then we're not the people who should be employing you. So it's a confidence that can feed around all aspects of your business. So it also, like the safe agent, what we found with the client money protection, it's amazing how many local agents, in fact I think we're the only agent in our area who is a safe agent. Now an example of that is there was a big landlord in our area who'd built up obviously a relationship with one of our competitors, and he'd never come over to ourselves, but then he saw the ad, the local ad, safe agent. He hadn't been getting his rent on time. He phoned us up immediately, someone who we'd been talking to him for 6 months. Within half an hour conversation, he'd come over and gave his properties over to us. So it does win you new business that's already there, already under your doorstep, on your doorstep. So as I think the last speaker was demonstrating, he said, well, you know, what does a good agent look like? And really, when people come in and they see the accreditations, that's what it looks like. You have them, you put them up around, and so people like himself, and I like people in the room, anyone you're associated, that's basically what you're saying. We are a good agent, and this is what it looks like. So, so locally, we've actually got a USP now, because as I say, no other agent has got the accreditation, so we really push it out and market it. It gives us financial credibility, because obviously we wouldn't have got the accreditation if we weren't doing things correctly. It drives sales, as I've pointed out before, and also it actually gives us discount when we enter some of the awards now, which I didn't realise until we went into the last one, which we actually got a 50% discount. So it enables us to continue to lead and shout even louder. I don't know if it's coming through, but we're quite good at shouting about what we do, but we've now got something else to shout about, which helps. So it gives us, and I think it gives us pride, and it gives the people who work for us a lot of pride in our organisation. So there you can see, I just put that one in because I didn't, obviously Karen Brady didn't get away. The most prestigious award we won last year was the Best Letting Agency of the South of England, which was actually a Times Award, and Karen Brady was actually presenting it. So it was nice to go up there and explain how we'd missed her the year before, but we caught up with her a year later. So what that has enabled us to do is actually enjoy what we do. Because I think if you're going to work and you're actually proud of what you're doing, and you really want to, you get a real enjoyment out of it, you can then go to all different events and really shout about and enjoy what you do, which I think is very, very important. A lot of people in business, they don't seem to actually enjoy it, but you must find the time and do that. So even if you see there, one thing leads to another, I ended up getting invited to Downing Street last year and to explain to the Prime Minister what being a NALS agent meant to me. As you can see, he's taking it all in. You're not allowed to say exactly what you talked about, but I will mention that the economy has certainly picked up since we had that conversation. The house prices are now driving forward. There seems to be more people employed, etc. So it was nice that he listened. So I'm not at the top of my mountain yet, but I'd just like to obviously thank NALS for helping me get a few extra steps up the mountain, and one day hopefully I'll be up here saying that I'm there right at the top. But anyway, so I'll thank you very much for inviting me to finish your conference, and hopefully people have found there the positive side of becoming accredited.